Hello to all you Gilded Serpent readers. We have an exciting new project. Lynette and I are working on a review of the nightclub business that existed here in London. I was very fortunate that I started in San Francisco and was very ambitious to work in the Middle Eastern dance scene. And as London was an English-speaking country, this was the first place I came to. And of course, there was such a beautiful, exciting, creative energy in London at this time. And I'm going to take you to the nightclubs as they are today, and then describe what used to exist in them, the dancers that worked, the musicians, and of course this was the glory days of the Middle Eastern dance world when everybody was coming to London to work, whether it was from Beirut, from the Gulf, from obviously Egypt. All the musicians and dancers were here, and this was a very exciting time in Middle Eastern history in the sense that there was a lot of Western influence in the dance, there was good money, there was development in Dubai, and all of that used to happen in Beirut. And of course when Beirut fell into civil war, it was to London's benefit because everything moved to London. This became the financial, diplomatic, and entertainment center of the Middle Eastern dance world. So we had the most wonderful people coming here, and all of the artists were coming here to find the stages and the venues in which to perform. So we're going to be going out today in the rain and the sun, changing in the summer here in London, and I'm going to take you to these premises where these beautiful events used to take place, and we're going to describe to you what happened at these clubs, who danced there, how the scene evolved. And I'm so delighted that I can share this with you because this is so important to me, because these were the days when we danced to live music. All the dancers were so creative in terms of having their own music written for them, and I'd just like to emphasize the importance of this time, and hopefully that there will be a revival again of live music, dancers and musicians composing songs together and working as they should in a unit. So I hope you like this series. We're going to be off on our way now. I think we're going to try and hit about 10 or 12 locations today, so we've got a lot to do. So I'll see you later. This unfortunate situation where the Sainsbury's is where the beautiful Pars Persian used to be. Now this was one of the original clubs that started here in London. This was at the same time as the Omar Khayyam, Cannon Street, and the Gallipoli. These were the three first clubs that started the dance scene here. Now this place is so fantastic. It was owned by Asdullah. He was a Persian guy, and Safa Yusri started here when she came from Beirut. We had Wadia Safi and Yasmin, and we had Soraya Jazaria, who was a fantastic Algerian dancer, and the star was Wadia Safi when I worked there. The most incredible Lebanese artist who worked oud. He's really loved in Lebanon. And this club started so many people off here in London. We had fantastic musicians. This is the place I first started as an Egyptian-style dancer, changing from the international Arabic sort of Turkish classic dancing to real Egyptian. And these musicians here helped me learn to dance. This is an amazing, beautiful little club and very, very important in the London dance scene.
She's got it covered.
And the Buckingham Palace is straight down through there. Beautiful premise where Louis Vuitton is 17 New Bond Street. This is where the Nile, Nile nightclub was. Now this club was a big breakthrough in the entertainment scene. It was opened by a gentleman from Egypt who had a professional nightclub business, and his name was Samir Sabit and Ahmed Wardani, and he had 12 dancers and a 15-piece orchestra. This is where Abu Abdel Al worked with me. He was the one who told me to come to London to work. And this is an amazing club. They had Nahid Sabri, Nili Fouad, Safa Yusri, amazing singers, and the most beautiful people used to come to these clubs. We used to have flowers along the carpet to greet people. Rolls Royces would pull up and the most amazing people would get out. There were chandeliers, and there was no photography allowed in these places because all the top diplomats, business people, stars of the Middle East worked, and nobody wanted any photography because it was very exclusive. And the musicians were so amazing. We had one orchestra for the singers and then another orchestra for the dancers because it's two different types of musicians. And the famous singers like Muhammad Gamal, Walid Tawfiq, Muharram Fuad used to come with their own musicians to play their music because the other orchestra that was existing needed to have the backup of maybe the accordion. Some of them brought their own tabla player, and this was an amazing and beautiful place. I can't say enough. This was a big breakthrough in the entertainment scene. This brought London into the serious big time, and I was so delighted that I was allowed to work and share the stage with the beautiful people that made these shows happen. This premise that's now a high-powered office building used to be the Empress. This was owned by Lebanese people, and Sabah worked here, Tony Hanna. They had the dancer Shushu Amin was their vedette. And it was owned then later by a Syrian guy named Atasi. Now I have to say I honestly didn't work here. I was working in Cairo when this place was functioning at its best. It was a really elegant, beautiful dinner club. Abu Abdallah played violin there. His brother Bashir worked there. All the musicians that worked here in London were all maybe forming a 10, 15, 16-piece orchestra, and they had Tony Hanna, Lebanese singer, brought deputy groups. It was a really beautiful venue. Now, right next to it is a very interesting club. You can't see very much right now. It's been changed completely. This used to be the famous L'Auberge. Now, this is the place where Mona Said worked after she left Omar Khayyam, and I worked with the fantastic Saidi Metgal, Reyes Metgal, who brought Les Musiciens de Nile here with his young son, was playing tabla at 9 years old, and this was Suhad Muhammad was singing here, Muharram Fuad. This was a really important classy club, and it was in the early days. It opened up just at the beginning, and then the Nile opened up after. So this was kind of a time when things were getting really much more money, much more prestigious competition between the clubs to present artists, and they started bringing these golf oud players who I never paid much attention to. They always went on very late at night, and these great golf singers used to sit on the stage in their galabias until maybe 6 o'clock in the morning when the sun would come up, and then everybody would go home. That's what they like to do in the desert. They do their music all night, and then in the morning when the sun comes up, everybody goes to bed. So this is the new theme. The club started opening later and becoming much more competitive. Now that leads me to this premise right down here, which we're going to walk down to, which is the Palm Beach Casino now. If you'll just let us go down the street, we're going to talk about this amazing place, and I'll tell you what it was when I get down there.
Look who we just found, who is actually dancing here coming up. Amazing.
I'm just going to tell this story.
This is Blanca from New York.
This amazing premise where the Palm Beach Casino was a club called Elf Layla Wa Layla. That's 1,001 Nights. This was opened right in the middle of the glamour time. This was where Mona Said also danced at. We had Magdi Hosseini, of course Bashir Abdallah, all the hot musicians worked here, and became the vedette after that. And the singers were Leila Abdulaziz, Farid Abdul Karim, Salah Hassan, and Muhammad Gamal was also there. We had a famous organist called Maggie Husseini, who did a solo with his album. And this was a really big show. They had 10 dancers, and it was very, very beautiful, very elegant, and right in the middle of the glamour period for the London experience. This slightly shabby looking place used to be absolutely incredibly elegant. This was Caliph, and it was owned by a Lebanese and an Armenian gentleman. And this is a place where Sabah, the very famous Lebanese singer, worked. She brought Debki dancers with her. We had Suhad Mohammed. I think Walid Tawfiq even worked here once. And this is so famous because Omar Sharif came here one night and they photographed him. And of course the photos went all over London, and it made the place even more famous than what it was. It's a very beautiful, elegant club. I had a beautiful dinner show, and worked with some beautiful musicians here as well. Sukar on accordion, Emil Basir worked with Kulthum, and Ali Abdul Salam. Some really great musicians worked here, and the famous Mustafa Sax, who did the opera melody, which is now famous all over the world. People use it as a saxophone. He was one of our London local guys and did this beautiful jazzy saxophone melody. And this club now obviously is a modern disco. It's seen its glorious days behind it, and that's how life rolls on. It's sad. This premise used to be the Shahrazad Club. This was opened by a group of Persian brothers. This was the first private membership club, and it cost a fortune to become a private member, and they had an absolutely gorgeous orchestra. A lot of the musicians worked with Kulthum, and the vidette was Amira Fuad, and this is a place where Muharrem Fuad worked. Let's see who else. Fahad Balin, who was really, really famous. Mohammed Rushdie, Samir Adawiya was a great pop singer from Egypt, was a star here, and Farouk Salema came and played accordion. He was a very famous composer for a lot of our music, and a dancer's accordion player, and he worked here with me. This was a really fantastic experience, very beautiful and elegant, and this was one of the first of the big clubs. This opened just before the Nile, and was an amazing place, really elegant, beautiful management, very, very classy, primo clientele, and a beautiful orchestra. That it is now turned into a disco, and now life goes on, and here it is, basta. This amazing premise is where the famous Omar Khayyam was. This is the legacy club. This was always the center of all the artistic energy. Everybody knew about this place. I had the most amazing clientele. This is the doorway to Omar Khayyam. This has obviously all been changed. You used to go down the stairs, down a beautiful stairway, and the decor of this club was incredible. It was like something out of the Arabian Nights. Jack Ahmed was a partner in the old Omar Khayyam that was in Cannon Street. These were all Turkish dancers. These were the very early days. This was probably in about 1973, 74, 75, when the nightclub scene was very, very small. It was a Turkish club, Omar Khayyam. And then Jack broke away and opened up this club. This existed with just the Pars and the Gallipoli. And this is a club that everybody told me I should work at when I was in San Francisco. Abu Abdalal and all the Saudi princes, everybody said, oh, you should go and work at Omar Khayyam. Well, the first night that I went here, what a surprise. The vidette was,
Isa Sharif, who is one of the most amazing artistic legacy dancers of all time. Mona Saeed had just come from Beirut. She was a number 6 dancer, and I thought she was incredible. She's the only one that went down on the floor, got on her knees, and also did a drum solo, so I thought she was amazing. I saw 12 other dancers. They had the most beautiful orchestra. Obviously, I had no idea what I was looking at. I just knew I was way out of my depth. I didn't understand the modern Egyptian style. I'd never worked with 10 musicians. It was just a shock. I'd never seen accordion in an orchestra. So I had a lot of learning to do. I was very, very lucky in that I had met the manager, and he was so nice. He was actually going to hire me, but I knew I wasn't qualified to dance. So I went to work at the Gallipoli, and I used to come here after my show and take my tape recorder and listen to this music. Now these were the days before there were videos, before there were tapes of music, so I had to record the music to listen to it because I had to learn to dance to complete new pieces of music in the modern Egyptian style. And this is where it all happened. Ahmed Adawiya sang here. All the most famous stars from Egypt were here. They brought comedians. It was such a classy and amazing show, and they were so beautiful to other artists. You could always have dinner here. They'd give you a table if you were in the artistic family and they knew you. It was really a beautiful place. I can't say enough for how important this club was. And it had the most beautiful decor. It had a bar that was like out of the Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, very Shahrazad, all very kitsch, beautiful Arabic stuff everywhere, lanterns and minarets. It was just gorgeous to go to. It was always a really lovely night out, and this was a bedrock of the nightclub scene. And of course at night it was really quiet. There was nobody on the street. Rolls Royces used to pull up. People would get out. It was just a secret, quiet nighttime mystery. These places that opened in the night, closed in the morning, and then in the daytime no one knew anything that went on here. But we knew, the people that worked here and lived here as artists, the musicians, the dancers, and the singers, gravitated to these places at night, and it was just beautiful. I can't say enough for how sentimentally I feel when I stand here. And I never worked at this club, honestly, for many reasons. There were other places that were more suited to me, but I was very friendly with the manager. Mr. Wadia was a beautiful friend. He's worked with me in a lot of weddings that I've done. Very, very accomplished musician. He has a musical instrument company in Cairo. Fantastic orchestra, and this is the really big experiences. This place here, all honor to it for what they did. Come on, Lynette, we're going to the Gallipoli. This is church, Bishopsgate Churchyard.
This is the financial district?
Yeah. This is the Gallipoli. Now this is a really amazing premise. This was built during Queen Victoria's reign. This was a Turkish bath. This is an official monument. This can never be changed. It's all tiled downstairs, and this was one of the first clubs to start the nightclub business and Middle Eastern dancing here in London, And then the other club that was right in this area was the first Omar Khayyam, which was all Turkish-based dancers. So this little beautiful place, is this a bathhouse now? It's a restaurant. I used to be a Turkish club. Oh yeah. It was a Turkish nightclub, and the outside is still beautiful. Obviously, I know it's a declared monument.
Yeah, it looks great. So, is this the way you came in the club?
Yes. Well, this is the Gallipoli. These are the first stairs I went down when I started working here in London. This was probably about 1977, and I can't tell you how much I used to love to come to work here. You can see the beautiful tiles, the mosaics, the atmosphere. It was so authentic. I mean, this is the real deal. This was built by Turkish craftsmen, and as I said, it was built during Queen Victoria's time. It's a declared monument. It was an official bathhouse, and then it became a really elegant restaurant. We're going to go down and take a look at it now and see. I hope it's still as it was before.
Somewhat. And it's still a restaurant now, and a club. Ooh, pretty. I don't think Jesus was probably in here at that time, though.
Yeah, same bar. Oh my God, that's where the stage used to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, cool. Was that cage there before?
No.
Beautiful.
Let me just keep moving so I'm about to open. And we do burlesque here now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard it was a very popular thing.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah. This is where the stage used to be.
Right there? That's where the
this
musicians
was-
were?
This is where the musicians were. This was the built-up stage. And then we had all of our beautiful tables all around. You can see how intimate it is. Very elegant, but a very nice crowd. If you have, 100 really classy people beautifully dressed, that's a gorgeous atmosphere. It made I can imagine coming to London from San Francisco, being able to work in a place like this. I was just charmed. I was so happy. I felt like I'd really landed, and we had incredible musicians as well. A 5-piece Turkish orchestra, and I was a very good Turkish dancer at this time. I played. Step away from the clear. I played.
Let's see that again. One more time. Yeah.
It used to be like. This is the Gallipoli bar. It's just like it was before. All the beautiful antique tiles are still here. And I just can't say enough how grateful. Those skeletons look a bit new. I don't think they were here before. But I just was saying how fortunate I felt to be able to dance in a beautiful club like this when I first came to London. I just felt so grateful. I really had a guardian angel taking care of me. And this was a beautiful way to start my dancing experience. And I was quite a good Turkish dancer, I found out, playing finger cymbals, and I did amazing floor work, which of course was part of the dancer's requirements at this time, to get down on the floor and do your hips and Turkish drops. Remember those girls where you spin around 20 times, drop on your back, hope you don't break your neck? Do a killer Turkish drop 3 times a night. So this is where all that happened. All my training in San Francisco with Jamila really paid off. I was very, very well equipped. And of course I started sewing costumes. This is the time when I started making beaded costumes big time. I brought all my coins with me. I think I had 3 beaded costumes, and then I started seeing really glamorous modern Egyptian costumes and had to get seriously to work making about 15 or 20 amazing costumes. And this is where it all started. This is the Gallipoli, and it's really beautiful to be here. Thanks a lot, Lynette. I'm really happy you had an idea for this project, because I'm really happy to share this with you and show you a little bit of history. That's me too, girls. I'm history now too.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. It was really fun to do this. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes. Having memories, are you?
Yeah, happy, a little bit sad, to be honest with you. I'm very delighted that I experienced this, but it's really a little bit sad too.
Report them for what?
Just happy that the doors were built. I'm sure they're that's protected on the outside. That should not have been done.
Wow. What do we got here?
Well, this pathetic place used to be Venus.
Now this was opened by Safa Yusri. She made a lot of money as a dancer, and she opened her own nightclub. And she had a really great manager, Muhammad Abdullah, and brought all the musicians. Hani Mahana worked here at one time, very famous composer, did his organ. And I danced here for a few weeks only. I did work here a little bit, not too much, and this was just a bit off the beaten track, but quite a good club. It didn't last very long, a couple years, and then it became Arizona. Now they named this after a really famous club on Pyramid Street called the Arizona in Cairo, and then of course the Cab du Roi that we saw before on Piccadilly was also named after a club in Egypt called Cab du Roi. So we had a few places that opened up taking names from the famous nightclub street in Cairo. There was Mawal, El Lail. These places were all little clubs that opened up and closed, but they were called the same names as the great clubs in Cairo. So it's kind of a little dive in a way. Safa had it was okay, but location is not first class. It's not like the beautiful places we were at in Mayfair, but this is what it is now.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Cool. Yes. This club is the Barracuda. Now this is just off Oxford Street. It's not far from Selfridges, so it's a downtown area. Of course, it's very much quieter at night. This was a nightclub in the mid-'80s. Now Mona Saeed worked here. Mohammed Salem was the accordion player here. And we had, of course, all the great singers. These guys brought lots of singers from the Gulf as well. I never worked here, honestly. I was making my film in Egypt at this time, and I knew all the musicians who worked here, but it wasn't really my style of place to work. I worked for one of the owners at L'Auberge, a Lebanese diamond guy that was quite a good businessman, but it wasn't really quite my style of club. I loved all the people that worked here, came to see the musicians, knew the dancers, and used to have a fun time, but never worked here myself. It's now back to being a casino again, quite elegant, and they do have a dancer here during the August, during Ramadan. They do a lovely Arab festival. They make it look like a tent, and I did dance here a few years for their Arab festival that they have every August. So it's quite a nice place, but another one that was not quite as important, but worth mentioning.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us on this journey through London. I know it's been chaotic with the traffic and the construction and the people, but this is us on the streets. We're right in front of the premises where these clubs used to work. Don't forget, these things happen late at night when there's nobody on the street. It's very quiet. Only the groovy people come out, and it's a secret world.